Hey Soul Fam, Psychic Kami here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. That's right, you have found me once again. Today I'm going to be talking about the process of self-growth, what that looks like, a couple of things that you can do to work your personal self-growth, and some great stuff like that. So please take a minute and share this video if you are new to me and or just haven't watched a previous YouTube video that I posted recently about why I am more present here. I am wanting to make a move away from Facebook. Things are just too constrictive there for me. And I'm wanting to move in a direction that supports being my more authentic self. And so here we are. I used to post quite a bit of chats to YouTube, and then I would share them over on Facebook. Facebook wasn't always my main jam. It did become my main squeeze. And now I'd like to get away from it. So please make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you get notices of when I'm live, when I do free psychic readings, what I'm going to be doing, everything. And please, please, please share. I really appreciate all of that. So let's get started. Again, like I said, my name is Kami Carranza, and I am a channel psychic and medium. I do offer private sessions. They do start at $15. I posted the link in this chat. You just can't get much better than that. Hey, friend. Hey, Sue. Nice to have you here. Thank you for coming and supporting me. Today, I wanted to talk about self-growth. I have been, just in the last week or two, really called to do some very large self-growth changes in my life. And let's be honest, I've been thinking about this. I probably do hey Candy, Kimberly, I probably do self-growth things every day. I have made that a part of just the way that I function in the world. Right before I go to bed, I have what I call reflection time, and I think about my day. I think about how it went. I think about what I want to learn or grow or anything like that from it. And that's when I do a lot of my personal self-growth. However, just in the last week and a half or so, I have been called to do even more self-growth work. And I've been called to do it in a very, that is going to bother me, in a very in a very structured way. And so I began doing a lot of digging into what is self-growth? What does it look like? What other tools do I have at my disposal rather than just sort of the ones that I've been using for the last couple of years, such as meditation and reflection and things like that. And I wanted to share with you guys what I have found too. Certainly, if you're on a self-growth path, I hope that this helps you. So according to Berkeley Well-Being Institute, self-growth, also, hi Anne, referred to as personal growth or development, is the process, and there's an emphasis on the word process, of developing new skills, attitudes, actions, or reactions. And I'm very, very focused on new things right now, certainly reactions. And these skills, attitudes, reactions, and actions all have a positive impact on the individual's life. So, like I said, according to Berkeley Well-Being Institute, that's what self-growth is. There are a lot of different areas of self-growth, of personal growth, self-growth, whatever you would like to call it. There is spiritual self-growth. There is body work, losing weight, working out your gym, that kind of thing. There's that kind of self-growth. Relationship self-growth. Self-awareness is also a part of self-growth, as is working with new skills. There's all sorts of areas of life that you can focus yourself on growing. Self-growth is really important for the human journey for a lot of different reasons. First of all, self-growth gives us a sense of purpose. And so if you're feeling bored with your life, you're not growing, you don't feel challenged, you don't have a sense of direction, go inward to self-growth. That is a wonderful time for you to go inside and find new purpose through discovering and working the process of self-growth. It also helps you to find your full potential. A couple of years ago, I did a chat on living life outside of the comfort zone. I had gotten a huge message from Spirit that my saying no to everything, all my Capricorn energy likes to say no to stuff, but that my saying no to everything was keeping me in these same experiences and not allowing me to grow. And so when you do self-growth, it helps you to reach your full personal potential. It also serves as a motivation. And so, like I said earlier, if you're just kind of feeling blah and you're floating through life, work on your self growth. It will help to motivate you moving forward into your future. And last but not least, and very, very important, self growth creates a growth mindset. And you may be wondering what a growth mindset is. A growth mindset helps us to can constantly learn and expand. And when we're learning and expanding as human beings, we're able to see the possibilities of life. Again, when we're stagnant and we're just kind of in, our little comfort zone, we're not really seeing, not only we're not seeing our own possibilities of our true human potential, but we're also not seeing the possibilities of life in general. So, let's see some of the ways that you can pursue self growth. The first way is to pick a focus. And so, like I said, myself personally, I am very called to self growth right now. And I'm actually really called to dramatic change for myself. And so, as I've been working through this process for my own self in the last week or so, I have developed a little checklist. And if you want it, send me an email, I'll send it to you. And this checklist is a group or a set of focuses for my day. On day 3, I've determined, what I feel like is going to be important to reaching my potential right now. What do I need to grow in? What do I need to change in? That's what I'm focused on right now is overall change. And I've created a checklist that helps me to stay focused on the areas of focus that I want to impact now with my personal self growth. Another way that you can pursue self growth is, as I mentioned, step out of your comfort zone. You're not doing yourself any favors staying there. I think that the comfort zone has value in situations and in certain times. I think there's value to being there. It's safe. We know what to expect, but staying there is one of your ways that you're going to limit yourself. Moving out of your comfort zone helps you to grow yourself. Another way that you can pursue self growth is to stay committed to change. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the older that I get, especially lately, the more resistance I have to change. And this is one of the topics I've been talking about with one of my best friends. We have like therapy every night and throughout the day too, really. But one of the topics that we have been talking about is how, as we've aged, especially in the last year or two, we talked about this last night, we've noticed that we're becoming more risk averse. And when, again, like I said, we talked about this last night, and in my 20s and 30s, I was not as risk averse as I am now. And so now change is a really big deal for me versus in my 20s and 30s, I'd be like, I'm going to change like that. And I certainly did. So those are a couple of ways that you can pursue self-growth. Pick an area of focus, step out of your comfort zone, and stay committed to being outside of your comfort zone. Candy says, yes, me too. Stay committed to being outside of your comfort zone. That's how you will naturally pursue self-growth. So, what does self growth look like in action? I thought that was really important too, to sit down and identify, like, what are some of the things that you'll notice when you are growing? Some of maybe the actions that you need to take, just some of the ways that your life is changing when you're going through a self growth period. The number one thing that I've noticed for myself, and some of you that are close with me and know me on a personal level, probably have also noticed this in me in the last couple of weeks. One of the ways that you know that you're on a self-growth path is that you're spending more and more time alone. When we spend time alone, it allows us time and space to process. One of the things that I noticed last year as I transitioned away from living with my twin and living back by myself again is that I did not have the space to process my thoughts and my day when I had someone living with me. And that's me. Y'all are, probably living with partners and doing this great. But for me, like, I need to have personal space if I am going to focus on self-growth. Personal space doesn't have to necessarily mean even like living by yourself. It can mean, hey, I'm going to go for a walk alone for an hour 3 times a week so that I can process my life. So again, spending time alone is a great indicator that you are on a self-growth path. Another way that self-growth kind of comes up and looks like is by being able to have hard communication. That's when you know that you have processed this stuff and you are ready to share it out with the world, even if it's difficult, even if it hurts, especially if it hurts. Being willing to have hard communication is a sign of self-growth. Losing or changing relationships. So if you are on a self-growth journey or you want to be on a self-growth journey and you're choosing your focus to be relationships, and some of my focus is certainly relationships, losing or changing the way that relationships are, it doesn't always have to be a loss, is an indicator that you are on a self-growth path. Another thing that happens often when we have self-growth is that we have to have new sets of boundaries. And as I was meditating today about this, I also realized that these new, hey Sharonda, these new sets of boundaries that we have to have as we grow is not just with the external world, but it's with the internal world too. It's so easy when we're at the beginning stages of change to go back to our comfort zone way of being. And having boundaries with yourself and saying, nope, I am not going to allow myself to go back there. It was not healthy. It's not what I want to do. It doesn't support my life. Oh my gosh, a string out of my dress. It doesn't support my life. Those are ways that you can have boundaries with yourself. Taking responsibility for yourself also goes hand in hand with self-growth. And that's a big one for me. It's 11, I've been talking for 11:28 right now. And y'all know that's my birthday. So I need to pay attention to this as it comes out of my mouth. But taking responsibilities for ourselves is also a huge component of self-growth. And that's really also part of my focus. The activities and actions and things that I'm doing right now to support and promote self-growth really also come down to sort of an underlying current of taking responsibility for myself, including facing my past, which I think I've done a pretty good job with. But, as we move through life, and I've said this to you guys many, many times, healing is never a straight line. It's always a spiral. We always come back to it with a new set of perspective. And so being willing to face your path is another avenue to self-growth. Asking hard questions when you do face your past, especially hard questions of yourself, is something that's going to help you as you move through self-growth also. And those hard questions can be things like, why did I tolerate this? What was it that I thought I was going to get out of this situation, or whatever it is that you're seeking to change, that I allowed myself to tolerate, be in, participate in, anything like that? You've got to ask hard questions of yourself and others if you're working on a self-growth path that is external. Accepting yourself and others is also a really key component of self-growth. That's how you know that you're on the path, is when your acceptance becomes a lot easier. You become, I think, a lot more gentler with those around you as you begin to understand yourself. Lastly, one of the ways that you can implement a self-growth path and to stay on that path, and you know that you're on your path, is when you are making and actioning hard decisions. So those are ways that it can look like when you are working self-growth. How do we get there? Candy says this is gold. Thank you, Candy, so much. How do we get there? How do we get to self-growth? How do we, what are some of the things that the tools that you have in your arsenal for self-growth? Like I said, I created a checklist for myself. I literally did. I don't want to share and show a lot. But I created a daily checklist, daily tasks that support my vision for my future self. And I haven't had a day yet where I've checked everything off, but I'm certainly working towards that. And I feel like, hi, Krista, thanks for coming. Having a checklist that helps me to see the things that I have committed to myself for, and going along and checking this off every day has been very, very fundamental for me. Again, this is only day 3 for me. But again, if you want this checklist, feel free to email me at psychickami.com. I'll email email it over to you, make it your own, please. But this has been really, really fundamental in helping me with my self growth right now. Another thing that I think is incredibly important is the process of meditation and or reflection. Meditation is when we get to a spot, yeah, of course, Candy, is when we get to a spot where we can clear ourselves and we can receive the messages that we need. Reflection, on the other hand, is when we get to a spot within ourselves that we're not receiving the messages, but we're asking the questions that we need to ask. And so, a really great example of reflection would be, like I said, I do it every single night when I go to bed. When the house is quiet, the kids are asleep, my mom's fine, everybody's tucked in and good. I do reflection and I like to think about my entire day. And I like to ask myself, did I show up the way that I wanted to? And if not, why not? That's the biggest question with reflection is why? Why did this happen? Why did I do this? Why? And so meditation and reflection are excellent tools to get you into self-growth. Another really great thing for self-growth and a great process is to journal. I'm not a big journaler. However, I do find tremendous benefit into putting everything out in one place where I can see it. And so I have begun journaling over the last week and a half. It has actually helped me to like logic my way through some of this. For those of you that know me, I've got a lot of Capricorn energy in me. And so logic is a very good way for me to move stuff through things, not necessarily emotionally because of my Capricorn placements, but being able to see it in one place and then to logically look through it and to sort of point things out to myself via journaling has been a really great tool for me. And again, that's something that's new. My extension of, or my, limitation to journaling has just been sending myself some notes on like Facebook Messenger or an email every once in a while, not actually sitting down and handwriting things out. And I just think it's so different and more powerful when we journal. So I invite you to journal for self-growth for sure. Another thing that is very, very powerful and fundamental for self-growth is staying curious. And I have said this throughout my entire career, you guys, get curious and stay curious. That's how we begin to understand not only the magic and miracles of the universe, but the magic and miracles of ourselves and our place in the universe and everybody else. Get curious and stay curious for personal growth. Another really, really fundamental way of working through self-growth is to deprogram. One of the buzzwords that people are using now is to decolonize, but I prefer deprogramming. I think decolonizing requires a bigger explanation, which I don't really want to get into right now. But deprogramming yourself from the things that you were told that don't sit right with your soul, that aren't the right thing for you, that you were just kind of being a lemming, not lemon, lemming, and going along with deprogramming yourself from the lies that you were told about yourself, the lies that you were told about the world. All of that is so very important. And then conversely, thank you, Sharonda, conditioning. Conversely, not just deprogramming yourself from what you were told, but then coming back in and programming yourself with what you want. And something that I think is really, really cool for doing deprogramming and reprogramming is affirmations. You guys have heard me talk about this a ton. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about rewiring your brain through thought processes. And so again, if you're going to deprogram, you have to reprogram with something. And I love affirmations for that. Go out and look at Joe Dispenza's YouTube channel. He talks about it a lot. And I highly recommend any of his talks. Like, I'm telling you to go for a walk every day or every couple of days. Go and listen to Joe Dispenza on your walk. It'll change your life. Last but not least, the way that we get to all of this hard work doesn't work unless we apply what we have learned. So it's not good enough. And I've said this for a long time too. It's not good enough just to have thoughts about something. You actually have to action those thoughts. It's a waste of your energy to think without action, and it's a waste of your energy to act without thinking. So as you are going through a self-growth process, make sure that you're applying that growth. It's not good enough just to have it in our minds. So I'm going to pause here for questions. I'd love to hear what you think about this. Let's see. Kenny says, yes, please, I'll email me. Yes, please feel free to email me, psychickami@gmail.com, if you would like a copy of my little checklist. Again, this is my personal one. Please make it your own. It's helping me definitely to deprogram and reprogram right now for sure. Hey, Heather, good to have you here. Anne says journaling has been instrumental in helping me to see things I didn't want to identify or admit. True, honest feelings. Yes, ma'am. Journaling for me has been, is like I said, this way to get out thoughts from my mind in a very logical way. And it allows me to come back and look at things and almost depersonalize it a little bit. And when I reread things and say, that's interesting, because when I'm journaling, like I said, journaling is very new to me. I just kind of free flow in my thoughts, and I will ask myself questions. Well, what does that mean? And how do I get there? And then coming back and reading what I wrote has been very fundamental for me too. Shauna is saying conditioning. Shauna says she would love a copy of my little, like I said, I've called it daily tests that support my vision of self. There are 6 days on this task. I've got probably on this list, I've probably got 20 items that I feel are in my best interest. I'll share with you the number one thing that is in my best interest is to start my day without picking up my phone immediately. I did that finally this morning, and I kind of laid in bed for a couple of minutes. That time I would have used on my phone to wake up my brain. I laid there for 15 minutes longer. It allowed my brain to just sort of naturally wake up, and I had some really beautiful visions and things like that that were powerful. So that's the number one thing on my daily tasks that support my vision of myself as I am going through a self-growth journey. So y'all, that's about the end of my discussion for today. I am so very thankful that you guys came to support me. I really, really love and appreciate every single one of you. Like I said, I'm transitioning here to YouTube due to very serious restrictions on Facebook. I can't talk about some of the things that I want to talk about. In fact, over the last couple of years, over the last couple of years, I have found myself being more and more restricted through Facebook, and I just don't want to do it. And that's probably, partially why I've stopped talking like this. I used to talk like this every couple of days. I would find something inspirational that Spirit would share with me. Like Friday, I'm going to share a really heavy item with you. But I would find those things, and I sort of shied away from it because of the censorship really that's going on with Facebook. I haven't quite figured out YouTube's policies. I will be doing a lot of reading this weekend. If you guys have anything that you want to share with me about it. I'm also looking to restreaming software. If any of you uses that and has any recommendations, it'll allow me to stream in multiple places. But you can look forward to a lot more talks from me on conversations like this. Friday, I am doing a discussion on the loss of innocence. This is something that came to me when I was meditating a couple of weeks ago, and it's been over and over and over in my mind how we lose our innocence over time, not just as children. We also lose our innocence as adults, and that's what I'm going to focus on Friday. So make sure that you come back for that talk. In about 45 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes or so, I'm going to be doing some free psychic readings over on my Facebook page, Psychic Kami. You can find me there, Instagram, TikTok, and of course here. Kenny says, yay, love your heart content. Thank you. Thank you. I mean it. Thank you. I feel like this is a whole different conversation too that I want to share. I think I had some very, very that's interesting. Maybe I'm not going to share it yet, but I had some very interesting interactions this week that have kind of helped me to remind myself of the places and paths that I want to go to. Anyways, lots of love for you. See you again, hopefully on Friday. Take care of yourselves. Happy Wednesday. Good night.